in the GT3 Championship, you can, if there is a gold driver in your car, he can only be co-driven by a bronze category driver. 2 silver category drivers can drive together, or silver and bronze. But again, that's just an equalization factor to try and make sure that there's no superstar drivers brought into what is effectively a development series. Now here the cars are leaving the grid, a 28-car grid for today, 10 different manufacturers, and they now will do their formation lap. They will form up again on the grid. And it's critical now, Johnny Herbert, to make sure that the drivers build some heat into these otherwise cold tyres.
No, exactly, Jeremy, and that's why you see the cars weaving all over the track, because although it looks a bit strange sometimes for people to do that, it does make quite a big difference to get that temperature in. You see on track it's only 10 degrees centigrade. So that makes it very, very cool. So this weaving actually does induce a hell of a lot of temperature, which these guys need to be able to drive these cars properly. So they will be doing this for the full lap, and then they're as hot as they can be. And it probably take another 2 or 3, maybe 4 laps before the tyre really gets up to its optimum temperature.
Yeah, but for non-regular race followers that are listening in today and watching in today, hopefully, all these cars run on slick racing tyres, so no tread pattern on these tyres. And you might think, well, if they've got no tread, surely they have no grip. But then if you think about it, it's that rubber contact patch onto the road that provides the grip. So the more contact patch you have, the more grip you have. But in order to get these tyres working to their optimal, they have to get up to a certain temperature, and it's a very hot temperature. And just providing that friction by moving the car around on the racetrack will build those temperatures and those pressures, air pressures in the car, in the tyres, and bring them up to where they are in their sweet spot. Let's say.
Yeah, one other thing that is quite difficult in these conditions is, because most of these cars, or all these cars, are rear-wheel drive, it's very easy to get the temperature into the rear tyres, because you can spin the wheels and that sort of temperature goes up, which you can see what the Aston Martin is doing here. He's trying to do it left and right to equally build up that temperature front and rear, because as I said, if you do it just on the rear, that means you will have a very bad handling car. And
at the same time too, also he'll be on and off the brake pedal to warm up the brakes as well. Again, when the car goes out from the grid, the brakes are cold and they need to get up to a proper temperature before they can operate to their maximum capacity.
Yeah, exactly, because they're quite sort of, these racing brakes are very sensitive to temperature. So if you don't get them up to temperature, what they tend to do is when you touch the brake, it snatches and it locks up the wheels, and then you get flat spots on the tires. But generally you just need to do that braking on this lap just to get that temperature there, so they don't snatch and don't do flat spots.
So that number 18 Corvette for Dino Lunardi at the wheel will start from the pole position in today's second race. He was fastest in yesterday's second qualifying session. That gave him the right to start from the pole position. The other cars lined up behind him in order set by their qualifying times in yesterday's second qualifying session. The Porsche of Martin Ragginger from Austria will start alongside on the front row. On row 2 of the grid, there will be a Corvette and an Aston Martin. 2 Porsches behind that. On row 4, a Corvette and an Alpina BMW. Behind that, the first of the Audi R8 LMS cars. That will start in 9th position.
And you can see on screen there, where the cars are, there's sort of a dryish line. But then you see on the right is where the damp is. But sometimes, on this first lap especially, the cars trying to pass are going to be on those damp parts of the track, which is going to be very, very tricky. So it'll be important to get a good start.
Yes, indeed it will. And the pace car is going to pull off onto the pit lane. Around come the cars, building up some speed. They have to wait till they see the green lights flash on, and the race will be underway. It's the Corvette of Dino Lunardi on the pole position. The Porsche alongside him, which will tell the V8 power or the 6-cylinder flat engine of the Porsche going into turn 1, Copse Corner. It's the Chevrolet on the inside line, the Porsche on the outside, and a spin for Dino Lunardi.
Yeah, I think the actual himself and the Porsche made contact, and I think that's why he did that spin.
Yeah, just the slightest contact it takes, particularly when the tyres, again, they're not really up to full temperature. There, it's down the inside.
And you can see the Porsche behind him, the yellow and black, the green and black Porsche. He's locking its wheels up, so he hasn't got the temperature that he needs.
And that's the much more experienced driver, Martin Ragginger, in that green and black and white Porsche. And I think maybe he's got some damage as a result of that contact in the first corner, because he is falling back. In fact, you can see
he has,
he's got a
there you go. He's got a
there he goes.
Yeah.
And down the inside, that white Corvette that took the lead lead into the Beckett's complex is the car now driven by Christian Owenadel from Germany. And yesterday, that car driven by Daniel Karwitz was running right at the front of the pack in the early stages until they had a problem. But now it is that same car, the Corvette, in the lead of the race, and everybody jostling around in the mid-pack.
Marine car here with the Aston Martin, and again he's got, I don't know what that's in front of him now. Anyway, he's got to get close. This is coming out of the new club section, and now he's going to be trying. It's very difficult to overtake here. There's a right-hander very, very fast, which goes on to the new Abbey part of the track. Then this quite wait, you see the spray from the car, bit of twitching going on. There's a left-hand curve going on here. This is the arena, part of the arena, all jostling for position here. This is the slowest part of the track here, the left-hander. The Porsche is still trying to go around the outside, and they're now going on to what is now the Wellington Straight. It's important, this curve there, that left, to get correct, because if you don't get that pace, you don't get the speed down the straight.
That Porsche, the blue-white Porsche, I think that's Marco Holzer, who's another factory Porsche driver, a youngster at the wheel of that third-place car right now. That is a great battle developing. In second place now is Carnavatov, another of the Porsche, driven by Kevin Estre, a Frenchman at the wheel of that car. And this is great dicing going on. That is, we can see Fred Makowiecki's car, the number 1 Aston Martin, tucked in behind that Ford GT. Great variety of cars again.
It is, and it's great because obviously some of these cars, some are better in the dry and some are better in the wet, so it's going to change as this race progresses because of these conditions are going to change quite dramatically.
And it was, I think it's Christopher Nygaard who is driving the Ford GT, made a great start. He started back in 14th, in 10th position, but up now inside the top half dozen or so, and really pushing hard in the early stages.
He is, and he's putting a lot of pressure on that Porsche, and it's going to be really now important for him coming out of the Beckett's onto the hangar straight, one of the fastest parts of the track, that he needs to get that slipstream there. The Aston Martin equally behind the GT40, trying to get a draft behind, and now the GT40, now he's going to try the outside. I think that will be quite an impressive move. Now he's not going to make it on this occasion.
Yeah, and both Christopher Nygaard in that Ford GT and Fred Makowiecki, with whom we were on board in the Aston Martin a few minutes ago, are doing double duty this weekend. They're driving not only in the GT3 European Championship race, but also in the GT1 World Championship race in a couple of hours' time. So they're getting a lot of track time, these guys, this weekend, and clearly putting it to good use.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's an important thing that, you never know what's going to happen with the weather. We believe it's going to stay dry from this point on. If a shower does come, of course, they're going to get an advantage because they've actually been on a damp track.
The interesting things about the GT3 European Championship is 2 drivers per car, and in each day, one driver will start one of the races, and on the second day, the second driver will start the race. So again, it equalizes everything out. So over a race weekend, each driver will start a race and finish a race. So again, it just equals everything out, and I think the championship, I'm very impressed. I think this is a good series that has some sensible rules that improve the competition. There's a good look on the inside coming down into Brooklands Corner. One of the Corvettes, one of the Graf Racing Corvettes, both of them had problems yesterday, but trying to make a move down the inside line didn't quite work.
No, it didn't. It's got a good interest in how these cars do change with the temperature. It's good to be in car with the Aston Martin. And you see that sort of stick shift. It's sort of like a motorbike. It's sequential, and it sort of has a little cut as well, so the driver can actually leave his foot flat on the throttle, and the little gear knob itself has a little sort of an electronic aid that when it just moves, it cuts the engine, which allows it to go into upper gear, not in down gear. The shift you have to use your clutch and your throttle on the downshift itself.
Indeed, so there is a good look at the Ford GT of Christopher Nygaard, and he's on board with Fred Makowiecki. You can see him working the pedals, and it's super on-board shot. So look how close he is, tucked in behind the Ford GT. He's going to move to the inside, down the hangar straight, trying to make a move into Stowe Corner, but that Ford, twitching around under braking, not able to make the pass was Fred Makowiecki, but somebody's across the grass. That is the second place car of Kevin Estre on the exit of Stowe Corner. He runs across the grass, but amazingly doesn't lose a position.
The Aston Martin put in massive amount of pressure on that GT40. At the moment, he's trying to put as much emphasis on trying to say, hey, I'm here, I'm going to pass you. And it's trying to make that driver in front make a little mistake and get in front.
Let's have a look at the standings as they are right now, with 3 laps in the books. The Corvette out in front, 2 Porsches in second and third, then the Ford GT, the Aston Martin, the first of the BMW Alpina cars. This is Martin Matska at the wheel of that car, the Czech Republic driver. On the right on the tail, as you can see, are Fred Makowiecki in the Aston Martin. Farther down the order, the Corvette in 7th place, the Porsche in 8th. The Corvette in 7th place, that's Mike Parisi, who was winning, looking like he was set to win the race yesterday until he ran out of fuel on the final lap. The Ferrari in 10th place, that had a great run yesterday with Diego Alessi at the wheel right now. They finished 4th after starting way back in 12th. And then the phalanx of Audi R8s, Michael Ammermüller in 14th place. Johannes Stuck, the son of a legendary Austrian driver Hans Stuck from the 70s and 80s, drove in Formula 1 for many teams, a massive amount of experience, particularly also in sports car racing. So some good names here, several second generation drivers in this field of cars. And as you can see, as the standings roll through, a great variety of machinery as well. And there was Martin Raginger back at the back of the pack. He came into the pits with that car, and I don't believe Johnny has made it back out again.
No, I don't think so. But it's a great little race. That BMW, I'm quite surprised how the pace that's got. He's starting to hustle that Aston Martin, which is equally hustling that GT40. It's a great little battle as we have a replay of that start, and you can see that they're all close together, the Corvette, and then we see a little bit further back that Porsche. There was a little bit of, there was a bit of contact there, but a bit further back there seemed to be a little bit of action going on, a little bit of shenanigans, let's say. But I think it's unfortunate that touch, and I think we see it here. You should see that touch. So you've got the Corvette on the inside, the Porsche. No, it just went out of shot.
Yeah, so all sorts of fashion, but that touch between the Corvette and the Porsche on the front row of the grid as it turned into Cox Corner, minimal contact there seemed to be, but the Porsche clearly picked up a puncture and came to the back of the pits. A little bit of smoke we hear coming from the back of that #1 Aston Martin, Fred Makowiecki at the wheel, and you can see right close behind him there is that BMW of Matska, very close behind it. Gorgeous BMW Alpina B6, a gorgeous looking car. But right behind him also Mike Parisi in the first of the Graf Racing Corvettes.
And we're getting on our timing screen. Of course, every single lap these guys are just going faster and faster and faster as the track dries. But of course the biggest problem is obviously trying to pass, because as I said, offline, that is where it's going to be quite damp.
Yeah, the fastest laps yesterday were down around the 2 minutes and 6 second range, or 2 minute 5 second range, I should say. Right now they're running 2 minute 07 for the race leaders, so within a couple of laps of the ultimate pace on a track that is still drying out.
Yeah, no, definitely so. And I think again what it is, of course, the temperature of the tyre is coming up. And generally what normally happens, of course, when you have rain, it normally cleans the track again and it becomes green. And green generally means there's not much grip on the track, not much rubber. So as these cars will be doing more and more laps, the rubber will be going down, and equally so they will be getting more grip, so they will go more fast.
There's a good shot of the cars coming into Copse Corner. You see the BMW Z4 there, and all that huge variety through the field on board. Well, not on board, but watching the race leader Christian Hohenadel in the Corvette, but tucked in behind him is Kevin Estre in that Porsche number 12. What's doing here? And then behind it in third place, another Porsche with Marco Holzer. And the car that's out in front of the Corvette, that is Martin Raginger, who came into the pits. He did make that pit stop with that punctured tyre, and he actually did rejoin the race, but as you can see, just at the tail end of the lead lap. So that green and black car is on the lead lap, but effectively in last place, and that white Corvette is leading the race, and right hot on his heels is Kevin Estre in the Porsche. A great battle developing with two completely different cars. Fastest lap of the race just set by Kevin Estre, looks to the outside line. I don't think that's going to work, Johnny.
No, it's not there. No. But I think it's just putting pressure on the guy. He just wants to keep on niggling and naggling at him, and if he does that, he might make a mistake and he'll be able to get through. It's interesting to see the Porsche that's obviously had the first corner incident. The pace is obviously very quick, and at this present time he's pulling away from the leaders, so hopefully he won't come into play for them. So I think it's going to be now interesting to see how the Corvette, the leading Corvette, handles the pressure from the two Porsches behind him.
Yeah, Martin Ragginger in that green and black Porsche shouldn't be a factor because he did qualify on the front row of the grid, so it is a very fast car, and he'll be pretty well wound up after having to make that extra pit stop, which of course will take him out of contention for the victory. But he nevertheless wants to prove a point here. He wants to get more comfortable also with this car. Kevin Estre has been driving primarily in the Carrera Cup Series in France, and this is certainly a step up in terms of competition for him.
Yeah, definitely so, and I think it's just another stepping stone in a driver's career. You know, this is the good thing about this GT3 European Championship. It is a nice stepping stone for the GT1 World Championship type cars, and we know we have a couple of drivers that are doing that, and there are quite some nice, quick, young drivers in this GT3 Championship.
There is a battle for the lead between the Corvette and the Porsche. Porsche also in third place. Then the Ford in fourth. Behind the Ford is that Aston Martin with Fred McAvecchi for the Hexus AMRT, and he has just set the fastest lap of the race so far at a 2:06.6, about a half a second quicker than the leader. So they're all very closely matched. All this top 7 or 8 cars, and also now up into 8th place I see is Tim Bergmeister in car number 20, the Porsche. He won yesterday's race with Cito Cunil, but for qualifying today, it did not, for today's race, did not go well for Tim Bergmeister. He started back in 12th and has now worked his way up into 8th place, but he's already a good 12 seconds behind the leader, so he's got a lot of ground to make up. Again, here are the standings. Nygaard in 4th place in the Ford GT, the Corvette in 7th, followed by the Porsche, and then the Ferrari moving up 1 position into 9th place, followed by the BMW Z4, then the 2 Audi R8s, with Bruce Lorgeroux, former single-seater driver, and right behind him, Johannes Seidlitz, who is a very talented young German driver, raced last year in the German DTM Championship for the Opel team, this year moving across to the GT3 European Championship.
And it's interesting to see the BMW that was hot on the heels of the Aston Martin. It was obviously very good when the track was damp, and now it's drying out. It's dropping back quite a long way, and this is where some of the cars are better in different conditions, but the BMW at the moment is definitely dropping back from that sort of Aston Martin GT40 battle. There he is there, just dropping back a bit, under pressure now from the Corvette.
I don't know why, but the number 25 Lamborghini Gallardo, which you've not yet seen, it's a yellow and black car, was super competitive yesterday, dominated the early stages of the race with Philip Geipel at the wheel. He handed over to his more experienced co-driver, but in Ellen Law, but she hasn't driven on asphalt race tracks for 7 or 8 years up until this weekend, so she was a little bit rusty. She had a spin, but still finished in 3rd place. But that number 25 Lamborghini is shown a lap down on the rest of the field, so I don't know what happened. I can't quite see the pit lane, so I don't know what happened, but that is a fast car that would appear to be out of contention. And there, once again, that was Kevin Estre in the Porsche running way wide on the exit of
And we've got an R8 that's back marker. Yeah, there's see, we've got the Porsches. Actually, the Corvette got stuck behind that back marker, the R8, and the Porsche went straight round the outside. So he's still causing a bit of mayhem there, but they're all past now. But the Porsche has made up a position.
He is the new leader then, the Porsche of Kevin Estre into the lead, and now Christian Owenadel in the Corvette is languishing in 2nd place. He wants to get that position back again. It's very close. The top 4 or 5 cars pretty much nose to tail. There they are. The 3rd place car is Marco Holzer, the NEC blue and white Porsche in 3rd place, and Christopher Nygaard doing a job there to hold on in 4th. He qualified outside the top 10, but made a great start and is really challenging the leaders now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that Porsche sort of extends his lead, because I think he seemed to be slightly quicker, although the Corvette's still tucking in behind him, but I think he is the quicker car.
We have a new fastest lap of the race, however, and it was set not by the Aston Martin, but by that Ford GT about which we were just talking. Christopher Nygaard just in front of us as we were looking out of the front window of the Hexus Aston Martin. There is the Ford GT. Christopher Nygaard from Denmark just set the fastest lap of the race with the cars going quicker and quicker and quicker at 2:06.3 last time around.
Yeah, the Aston Martin and the Ford GT are basically the fastest of those sort of front-running cars, so it'll be interesting to see if they can keep that pace up. If they keep that pace up, then they have a good chance of moving up positions.
Let's have a look at the positions as they are again right now. The new leader is Kevin Estre in the Porsche, and behind him is a battle of cars with all sorts of different variety. There's another of the Lamborghinis. That is the teammate, the Lamborghini of Giorgio Sanna, who is put it into the gravel trap. I think does he race against you, Johnny, in the Superstar Series in Italy? Let's have a look, see what happens.
I think he just had a spin there, I think, yeah. And straight off there. So yes, we raced together in the Superstar Series there. Straight through that mud, yeah.
Just got on the gas a little bit hard to there, didn't he? Look, here's another, the Corvette. It's challenging again, that Porsche. A great battle here between two completely different cars. The Porsche and the Corvette going into the...
This is Club, exit Club.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The top 5 cars, there they are, in line astern. It's a Porsche, a Corvette, a Porsche, a Ford GT and an Aston Martin battling for the lead in this race. We're only less than just over 15 minutes into the race, so we're still about 10 minutes away from the pit stop window opening. As you can see there, the order: Kevin Estre in the car number 12, Christian Oenadel in car number 1, and the relative positions and lap times they are doing over the last couple of laps. And as you could see, very little to choose between them.
Yeah, and what you can see as well, so we've unfortunately gone off shot, but the GT40 has just got on the back of the... is that winking at me?
Yeah,
GT40 has just got on the back of that Porsche, and I think now he's going to start put him under pressure. And I think the race is looking very interesting for these last sort of 5 or so minutes before these guys have to pit.
Indeed so, and that Lamborghini is parked in a pretty dangerous position down there, isn't it, in between Brooklands and Luffield.
Yeah, I don't know if they have anything to drag it off. I hope they do. They need to get rid of that as soon as they can.
Here is this battle. There is Marco Holzer in 3rd place, and he wants more than that. But look now, the Corvette is challenging around. Going to look to the inside, going into Beckett's. That's an awfully difficult place to make a pass.
It is, and the interesting thing with this battle now with these front two is, of course, it's going to help the next 3 cars behind, because obviously they're going to be battling, they're going to be slowing each other up, and it's going to close the help probably that GT40 and the Aston Martin at the back there to close up on them and get in a better racing position.
You know, that Porsche pulled away a little bit through the Beckett's complex. That was kind of interesting, wasn't it? He pulled that 2 or 3 car lengths. That mid-engine car just really nicely balanced in these still slightly tricky conditions. Yeah,
and you see the Corvette has just passed that BMW that is dropping down. Now we've got the GT40 putting that Porsche under pressure, and this is an interesting one. This is the right-hander now. Club is interesting, so you can get close enough here. You can follow him up towards the Abbey curve, keep close to him, and then we go on to the new part of the circuit, and there's the tight right-hander at Arena, which gives him a possible opportunity to overtake, but I don't think he's going to be close enough on this lap.
Figures are coming up now into the new section. It'll be sharp right-handed here, down to 2nd gear, a very short stab on the throttle down to 1st gear here, and now the key is to get the power on smoothly to get you onto the very fast Wellington straight.
It is, because you see, as we see, there will be a left-hander there, and it's not flat out for these guys, so you'll have to do a little bit of a lift off, a little bit of a short shift, and if they get it right, they can actually get that slipstream and that run up to this left-hander here going into Brooklyn. But again, they're not quite close enough, but he's really handling that GT40.
The Ford GT breaks good and late into there, doesn't he, and just able to fend off the Aston Martin. Interesting to see how these different cars just act a little bit differently, particularly from the onboard there from Frederick Makowecki. You can kind of see that the straight line speed, the Ford GT is pretty good, and the Aston just closes a little bit on the apexes of the corners, but that's not really where you want to be fast. You want to be fast on the entrance to the corners at the end of the straights.
Yeah, and what I think hopefully we'll see here as well, the GT40 is actually quite good through this section, and he just pulls out a little bit and gets closer to the Porsche in front. See, as I think he's pulled out another little gap on that Aston Martin behind him. So they sort of, some cars are good in certain parts of the circuit, and then the others are better in the other part of the circuit, and it's trying to get in the right place to give yourself a chance to overtake in the corner coming up.
Got a glimpse of the Ford GT there. Christopher Nygaard, he's driving a Ford GT right now. He'll be driving an Aston Martin later on this afternoon in the GT1 race, and more battling here a little bit farther back down the order. A couple of the Audis, Audi R8 LMS's, beautiful cars coming in to the Beckett's complex, and Aston Martin behind them, another Corvette as well. That number 18, Dino Rinaldi, who started on the pole, had that spin, and now making his way back up the order, up into 16th place. So the
Corvette, again, he's on the back of that Porsche. We're sort of having still the pressure. They're very, very similarly placed, those front two, and I think it's something that the more the pressure that they put on each other and the more they slow up each other, as I said before, it will only benefit the guys behind. But I think they seem to be doing a smart race of just trying to allow each other to actually do the pace that they need just to extend that lead over the third place Porsche.
It's going through your mind, if you're Christian Oehnadel now in second place, you've led the early stages, you kind of got balked and somebody else has had a run on you. What are you thinking about? You're trying to, when do you make your move? Do you make a move?
Well, you've just got to be consistent in your lap time. Nice little battle going on here with the R8s and the Aston Martin. So yeah, good little battle there. But yes, you just want to try and keep on close, because as when this pit stop comes in, it's very good to be able to be at least hand over to your fellow driver close to the competition, and I think all he needs to do is just stay on his bumper for when those pit stops come along.
Yeah, the pit stops will be coming as soon as...
There's a bit of weaving going on here. There's a BMW and an R8 having a nice battle, and this is what's good about this new section. He's trying to go around the outside. This would be brave if he does that one. Is he going to do that? I think he is. Bit of rubbing. Oh, it ain't quite make it. But this is where I'm glad to see there is a digger finally on the track trying to get the beached Lamborghini off the track. But it's good with this new section, as I said, going down towards Brooklyn, gives this opportunity for these guys to overtake as the Aston Martin dives down the inside of the R8 and a clean move.
Now this the number 2 car, which is one of the Hexis AMR cars, that is the teammate to Frederick Makowiecki, Thomas Ackery at the wheel. In fact, this afternoon, Thomas Ackery and Frederick Makowiecki, who both started these races in the pair of Hexis Aston Martins, will be sharing a car in this afternoon's GT1 race. So good experience for the both of them. Ackery did not qualify particularly well for this race, but is moving up the order, and now to 13th place, 12th place with that pass.
I think we can see that Corvette is hustling that Porsche quite a lot now. I think his pace seems to have improved over the last 3 or 4 laps, and I think he's getting himself in a possible position to actually overtake that at some point. I think there's a bit twitchy there, that Porsche, leading on to the left kink as we go on to Wellington Straight.
We've still got the top 5 cars pretty much nose to tail, just a few car lengths between a couple of them perhaps, but certainly very, very closely matched. Mike Parisi in the Corvette is in 6th place. You can see the running order scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Mike Parisi is in 6th place, having got past the BMW. Oh, there is Dino Lunardi. He's off again. He's having a hard time getting back going again as well. So he's had a spin now. He's had a spin on the opening lap. That is not exactly what the car that finished in 2nd place yesterday did not want. They wanted another good point-scoring finish to cement their championship position, and it's not going to come for Dino Lunardi and Tony Seiler this afternoon.
No, it's not. It's a shame, because I think their race pace was very good yesterday, and they had a good opportunity today, but I think they've blown that.
Well, I was going to say that Mike Parisi in kind of a 16, the Corvette, having got past the BMW Alpina, has been setting very fast laps. He is closing in on these top 5, had set the fastest lap of the race up until last time around, when Martin Rankin, you remember him from the very first corner, had an incident in the Porsche that started on the front row of the grid, made the pit stop to change the tyre, was almost a lap down to the leaders, and we haven't seen that car lately. The reason we haven't seen it is he's pulled away from the leaders and just set the fastest lap of the race at 2 minutes 5.9. These leaders, they're lapping about 3 or 4 tenths of a second slower, so very, very closely matched, and there's a whole bunch of cars. There's probably 10 or 12 cars that are lapping within 1 second or so of the ultimate pace.
It is, and of course that makes it quite hard for the drivers to be able to pass each other. But I think that Corvette there, definitely, yes, he got great drive out of that corner. Now he's kept that Porsche's gone in the damp. That's going to make his tyres go a bit cool. That's going to make it twitchy, and there you go. There's the twitchiness. Just amazing. Just that little bit of damp on the tyre makes it. I think he just clipped in there. Yeah, just clipped in there. But that damp just makes that difference, where the tyres go suddenly cold and then you lose all your grip, and that's exactly what we saw there.
Excellent driving by Christian Oehnadel. He pressured him into that mistake. Yeah. There's one of the United Autosports Audi R8 also having a spin. Let's have a look at this again.
Now you see now he's on the damp. Now he goes on the damp again, so for the second time, quite a lot of spray, and then his inside wheels basically have gone much cooler. He goes on the curb, but that was a big mistake. You shouldn't go on the curbs, especially when they're damp like that. And that was just because he was put under pressure. And then you just see him flick around. He goes back onto the track, and he just clips the back of that. I think that was the GT40. So hopefully he hasn't done any damage to the GT40, who was the innocent party.
Yeah, it was the GT40 who just maybe clipped him. Also, we saw Frederick Makowiecki taking avoiding action to the right-hand side, and he did a wonderful job to keep that car off the fence. So we have a new race leader for, again, as it was in the early stages, Christian Owenadel in that Corvette, back into the Callaway Corvette. A wonderful move. He gets himself into that premier position, and the pit window is now open. 34 minutes remaining in this race. Let's have a look and see the damage. If there is any more damage, it would be on this side of the car. As we look at it right there, it doesn't seem to be any damage there.
There's more on the
whatever
on the
that
Porsche.
was that caused the front of the damage on that Porsche, not quite sure, but the Ford GT seems to have got away with it and is in third place.
Yeah, what was it? This is all about where you can just pressurise a driver sometimes in getting in a position. Oh, that was quite an interesting mess on the front there.
Why did it cause that much damage to the car? Because I don't think the Corvette hit him as it went through, did it?
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
It's the end of the race for Kevin Estre. He had a good run going there. Let's have a look on board from Fred Makowiecki.
So there's a lot of smoke going on. There's that Porsche. That's the Aston Martin. So maybe it was the Aston Martin he clipped. It's gone very wide there. Yeah, I think it was a GT40, I think.
Big run through the gravel for Fred Makowiecki.
This may be a better shot there. This gives a better shot for us.
Around he goes.
Around he flicks and he goes back onto the track. There's the GT40. Oh, just clipped. Very lucky guy. Very lucky.
Like
just clipped
the
it.
tyre of the Ford GT, and awfully lucky in that case not to cause a puncture on the Ford GT.
Extremely so.
And I think, if it was going to cause any damage, it would have had its effect by now, perhaps.
Yes.
So well, maybe he's got away with it.
Yeah, I think so. The shot we saw, we didn't seem to see any damage on the side. So he's a very fortunate guy. And again, innocent party. And thankfully, he's got away with it. So we will see. It will be actually on this side here. But no, you don't see anything there. So I think it was the wheel that he caught. Very lucky.
Just flush and just right, because it's very easy to pull out the tyre stem on that and just let all the air out right away. But maybe he's got away with it. He's still in third place. It's still Kevin Owenadel in the Corvette that leads. Porsche in second place, the Ford GT in third, and the second of the Corvettes, Mike Parisi, now up into fourth place. And Makowiecki, after that huge excursion through the gravel, somehow recovers in fifth place, still ahead of that BMW Alpina of Martin Matska in sixth.
And we got the same sort of battle into the same sort of corner, but the R8 was a lot smarter. Didn't go sort of too close to the inside where it's damp, and that allowed him to actually go through Abbey itself without any issues. But he's coping very well with that Porsche that's putting him under a lot of pressure, and he's just doing his race at the end of that. And I think it's always the smartest thing to do, is just do your race, your pace, maybe make it a little bit difficult for him behind, but just concentrate on your job ahead.
Marcus Paltala, the Finnish driver in that Porsche car number 60, pursuing young Matthew Bell in the Audi R8. That's a United Autosports Audi R8 LMS, a mid-engine car there. And young Matt Bell, it's his first ever professional race. He's done very little racing in the past. Let's go down to the pit lane. Kevin Estre is with Haley Coxon.
Kevin, you're involved in a great battle there with the Corvette, but sadly you've had to bring the car into the pits.
Yeah, great battle. Yeah, he was just behind me, and during 2 laps the car was difficult. I had a lot of oversteer, and before the high-speed corner, he pushed me just a little bit, and the car oversteer a little on the entry of the corner. So I have oversteer, and I touched the grass with the rear left. So I lose the car, and after I did a spin. So it was great start, because I start on the 6th position. I'm sorry for my co-driver, and it was good battle. I think for the season it will be great, but I'm disappointed for this race.
Thank you.
So that is Kevin Estre there, the young Frenchman. And his co-driver was due to be Jürgen Höring from Germany, but Jürgen will not get a chance to drive this afternoon, but they will be back in the second round of the GT3 European Championship in a few weeks' time. In the meanwhile, let's have a look at another battle here. There is that number 9 BMW Alpina B6. It's fallen behind, apparently, the Ferrari, which is once again, as yesterday, moving its way up the order. Diego Alessi at the wheel now. Yesterday that car came from, I think it was 12th on the grid to finish a magnificent 4th, I think it was, at the end. And today, Alessi has gone from 11th on the grid, and now, having passed that BMW, up into 6th.
Yeah, they, as you said yesterday, Jeremy, they really seem to have the pace in the race, and they seem to be able to slot past the cars and get into a great position, and this will be great. We're in that window now, which I think has enabled them to be in a stronger position for the second part of this race when they change over their driver. I don't think he's pitted yet, has he? No, he might come with them.
No, he hasn't. He has certainly not pitted. Look at the Ford GT closing in there on second place. The Corvette pulling away a little bit at the front, but this battle raging behind them there. The two of those cars, the third one is a lap down, having made a pit stop, but these other two are locked in battle for second and third place.
Yeah, I think the first Porsche is a back marker.
Oh, it is, you're right. Yeah, so there's a change of position, and Nygaard has got up into second place, I beg your pardon.
Yeah, so I think that probably happened a bit further back, where the actual the back marker got in right in front of the Porsche, and they capitalised with the GT40. But now he's got to do the same thing of getting past it, so he doesn't want to get held up in any way, which he is at the moment. But the following Porsche behind him, that Porsche there, the blue NEC, is not close enough at this point to be able to do that. There we go. Yeah, so he's got a little bit loose there trying to rotate. GT40 on the outside. And this is going towards the new club. Yeah, he just runs wide there. I think he just gets a little bit too wide on a little bit of that damp patch, and that's just allowed him to just sneak through.
Super job there by Christopher Nygaard to take opportunity. Here are the leaders into the pits. We see the pit window ticking away. They have to make their driver change before 25 minutes to go in this race. There is Marco Holter clambering out of the car, and it's Van Splinteren, Paul Van Splinteren from Holland, who will climb aboard that Porsche. It was in second place. Also in the pit lane is that Corvette with Kevin Owenadel handing over to Daniel Karwitz. Here is that pit stop taking place as well. Oh, a spin for the BMW Alpina. That was the 7th place car of Martin Matska, who was certainly having a good run, but looks like he certainly made a mistake down there.
I think that's Copse Corner, I think that is the exit of Copse Corner.
That'll be a bit exciting. Was there
So
somebody else in the way?
Yeah.
The Ferrari having just made a pit
there
stop.
you go. Yeah, oh, look at that one. That's
He just
a
come out of the
pretty
pit.
spin. No, definitely not. If he was motoring.
It's a funny place to spin though, because yeah, you'd think you'd run off the exit there. You're carrying a lot of speed into Copse Corner, and he's on board here again with, I think that car has made a pit stop, as we see Daniel Karwitz rejoining the race in the former race leading at least Corvette. We'll see when they come around to complete this lap whether the order has changed at the front of the pack. Everybody has completed now 15 laps when they're making this pit stop.
And this is an important time now, because obviously these drivers are getting back into a race car for after doing it 12 hours ago, and now it's just trying to get, it seems to be, oh no, it seems they've now got to get into a rhythm quite quickly, because you don't want to lose that much time just getting yourself comfortable. So the quicker you get up to speed, the less time you'll lose.
There is the Paul Van Splinteren in the Porsche that was in second place. It would appear that they have maintained their relative positions out on the track, and here now comes Christopher Nygaard. So he has done one more lap than everybody else. He is within the 25-minute window remaining in the race, so he can make the pit stop now. That is perfectly legal, and he will come in and hand over that Ford GT to Mika Escalainen from Finland.
Yeah, and he may have been a bit unfortunate, because I think he caught that R8 that was going much slower than him, and you can see he's right tucked up behind him. So in some regard, maybe, I know we've got this time in the pit lane itself, but you don't want to get held up anyway.
And the speed limit as well in pit lane of 60 kilometers per hour. He brings that car to a halt as one of the R8s leave, and on board here with that number 1 Hector Aston Martin.
I think what it was, that R8 actually got a drive-through penalty, so I think that's why he actually met him in that pit lane, because he went straight out of the pit. So.
And talking of penalties, the car number 101 also has got a penalty for crossing the line at the pit lane entrance. So when Christian Oenaarl came into the pits. There is a white line delineating the racetrack from the pit lane entry just before the little strip of grass on the inside of the track on the exit of Luffield Corner. And we saw yesterday in the GT1 qualifying
There we go,
race.
we can see it on screen. You have to go in between those don't know what he was doing. He decided not to come in there, very strange. But you've got to go in between those lines, and if you just cross it, as in going in too late, it causes a bit of a problem, because you get a penalty.
Pit window is now closed, and I think as long as you began making your pit stop before that window, I think that's okay. So there goes the number 1 Aston Martin. Fred Makowiecki handed over to Manuel Rodriguez, who started the car yesterday and was involved in an accident on the first lap. Let's see if he can keep it clean this time around.
Yeah, well, he's actually closed the gap on that GT40. I think they're about 2-3 seconds behind, and it looks as if he's only about half a second behind now. So obviously they did a marvellous pit stop, while the GT40 didn't do such a good one. So now the battle is on between those two now, especially this first lap, because this will be an important one for whoever settles in quickest, and the Aston Martin looks very comfortable at the moment.
One of the Santaloc Phoenix Racing Audis is in the spin, yeah, and it's Bruce Logeroux who started that car, I believe, and Pierre Hirschi, whose son, Jonathan, will be racing the GT1 race this afternoon. Lovely man is Pierre from Switzerland, but it looks like he's looped that car and stuck it in the gravel as well. So here's a battle as Christian Oenaarl, after making, we believe, that drive-through penalty, he's shown now in 6th place. He's certainly got some ground to make up. He's got about 31 seconds to make up if he's going to have any opportunity to win the race. And the scoring right now, it's looking down to the pit lane and Haley Cox.
Christian, that was a great performance, but now you've been issued with a drive-through penalty.
Yes, was a. I think the car is very good in these conditions at the moment, and I did a big mistake. For me, it's a shame, because yesterday we also have a very good performance, and we have a little engine failure, and I hope that that we have a chance to go on the podium. But for me, at the moment I'm very angry of myself.
Thank you, Christian.
And that's a great shame. And here is the car serving a drive-through penalty. Whether that's its second penalty, I'm not quite sure, because it was already shown down in 5th place, some distance behind. I guess there
was something wrong with the time.
Yeah,
he's gone into second now, but now he's in the pit lane, so this sort of makes more sense now.
And for some reason, yeah, the timing system's screwed up at the moment. I'm not quite sure who did it. I think
Ferrari leading now.
Well, yeah, exactly, which I don't think can possibly be the case. So I'm fairly sure that number 61, the Porsche, with Paul van Splunderen at the wheel, is leading the race. But here is this battle for probably second place between the Ford GT and the Aston Martin, just as it was in the early stages of the race, but now with different drivers.
Yeah, now we're inboard now. This is down to Hanger Straight. He's got a good slipstream. The corner actually is a right-hander, but he's actually on the outside. Now, it's possible. Is he going to get in front? Yes, he is. Oh, look at that. That was very easily done. Quite a surprise there. But the Aston Martin did look better straight out of the pits. And as I said, he seemed to have gone into his rhythm much quicker. And
Manuel Rodriguez certainly has more experience, I believe, well, certainly, than Mikko Escalainen from Finland, who is driving now the Ford GT, and also Manuel Rodriguez in that Aston Martin, looking to atone for a mistake he made yesterday. Let's have a look at the standings. The Ferrari is still shown at the top. I think that's a mistake, unless the car has not yet pitted. In second place it was the Porsche, and then the Corvette behind him.
Yeah, memory board again, as you say, he gets that nice slipstream. Obviously came out of the Beckett section very well, changing up through the gears. Got a great slipstream round the outside, but actually gets into that corner ahead without a problem at all, and quite comfortably done.
Very nice pass indeed, and again, a little bit extra experience there for Manuel Rodriguez, paying off. And as I said, he's trying to atone for that mistake he made yesterday on the opening lap, and he does so in fine style, looking now as if he can come away at least with a podium finish, perhaps more than that. There is our race leader. It's now Paul van Splunderen. He's a guy who's got a lot of experience in a lot of different cars. Started off in 1988 his racing, so over 20 years ago, racing in Alfa Romeo. Here is that Ferrari that was shown in the lead. Diego Alessi and Giacomo Petrobelli, two veterans of the Formula Palmer Audi Championship in the UK. And if that's just its scheduled pit stop, it's way outside the window. So I don't know why that would be, but if that was the case, then I don't think he's going to be a contender for the championship point, so
No.
not quite sure what's happening there.
Anyway,
But in any case, what is, I think for a fact, is that this car, the Porsche, is now well out in front. A huge advantage over the Aston Martin of Manuel Rodriguez, who has taken over from Fred
just
McElwickie.
comes into shot there, so
And
there's a big difference. Yeah, so it's in front of the Aston Martin.
I mean, it might be in second place, but it's made its pit stop outside the window, and that's, I believe, going to cause some kind of a penalty. So
It was 6th or 7th.
yeah, but he was turning pretty quick laps because he had been making up time on these. He started outside the top 10 and moved his way up to about 6th place. And if he kept on going all that extra time without, still on hot tyres and the same driver at the wheel able to turn some good laps, that'll give you a good advantage when you stop earlier on.
Anyway, the Aston Martin again looks as if it's come out of the club corner. The Ferrari defending his position, right-hander now, Abbey, and he's very close here, so now he has that opportunity. Yes, I think he's going to do it here. They've got through the left curve here. Ferrari just pulling away that little bit. He's going to probably defend, be in the middle of the track, yes, so he's defending that inside. He's a little bit loose at the back end. The Aston Martin very close, going to slip through on the inside. Yes, he does there, quite easily.
Whoa,
there you go, and a little bit of a lock-up. The Ferrari's back, but the Ferrari seems to be easing off for some reason.
Yeah, he seems to have some sort of a problem. He's right off the throttle.
Oh yeah, he's got a problem.
So it is then the Aston Martin into second place. The Corvette there is in third place. So despite that drive-through penalty, apparently still in third place. That must have been a great stop. He has moved ahead of that Ford GT with the slower driver Escalante on board, and the Ferrari is shown still in 5th place.
It was interesting. It'd be lovely to know how that Ferrari got up there, because that obviously was quite a shrewd move whenever way it sort of worked out. But I think at the lead, the Porsche seems very comfortable at the moment. The Aston Martin is doing equally so okay, but there's quite a big gap. I think it's about 13 seconds, I think, gap, something like that. So it's quite a big gap to try and cut down on.
And 5 different makes of car in the top 5 position: the Porsche, the Aston Martin, the Corvette, the Ford GT and the Ferrari, and also a couple of different types of BMW, the Z4 and the Alpina B6 also among the top 10. Again, once again showing the variety of cars that races in the GT3 European Championship.
Yeah, and we've got the lap times on our screen, and there's quite a big difference between the top 4 drivers. We've got the fastest, the Porsche at the moment doing 2.9s. We've got the second place, and the leader. And the race leader seems to have beached it where that is, but I think he's obviously had a spin or his contact or something. Maybe we get a replay of that.
Just 17 minutes to go in the race. He had a handy lead, leaded by over 13 seconds over the Aston Martin with which we are now on board. And it looks like it's run away. Mind you, was that the Corvette might have got past him as well?
The Corvette slipped through,
Yeah, so boy, with that drive-through penalty, are Hohenadel and Kyrowitz going to come away with a victory? That would be an amazing proposition.
That would be wonderful for them. That would really boost their confidence. There we go. Yes, obviously it was we'll have to see exactly what happened, but we're going into the this is Vale going into sort of just club, so this is the tight. So yeah, it's quite an easy overtaking. Maybe the Aston's got a problem. This is club corner now, but he's already ahead, and wonderful overtaking and speed they've got.
Daniel Kyrowitz, he's just 20 years of age. He's from the Black Forest region of Germany, and he's raced here at Silverstone in the past on board here with the Aston Martin. As we'll see the Corvette coming through.
Yeah, you can see him just in the mirror. There he is, coming past.
But Kyrowitz, he loves this racetrack here at Silverstone. He has a little bit of experience here. In the past, he raced in the Mini Cooper Challenge, which is primarily based in Germany, but he raced over here at Silverstone last year, came away with a 2nd and 3rd place finish, and just loves coming here to England, and particularly to Silverstone.
And he's dealing with it very well. You know, his pace has been pretty impressive after the pit stops, and to move up as quick as he has, is very impressive indeed.
Sensational. So it is now Kyrowitz who does lead in that Corvette. We are watching the 2nd place Aston Martin. It's Manuel Rodriguez at the wheel at the moment, the French-based Portuguese driver. In 3rd place, the Ford GT. And let's have a look here as a battle between the Porsche and the BMW, and round goes the Porsche. That was a car that was outside the top 10. David Ashburn, who is the team owner of that track speed team, it was the team car, the teammate, car number 20 that won yesterday with Jose Luis Cunil and Tim Bergmeister. And I'm looking now to see where they are. They started way down the order, but they've moved up their way up to 5th place overall in car number 20. So while David Ashburn, the team owner, goes spinning, Cunil, young Cunil, just 20 years of age, super young man, has made his way up to 5th place, and he's turning some very fast laps indeed, and closing in on the Ferrari that is in 4th place. We'll look at that in a moment, but here is this battle now, and Rodriguez seems to have picked up his pace a little bit. He'd lost quite a bit of ground to the Corvette, which came from their way behind to get past him, but now the Aston Martin seems to be holding on, Johnny.
Yeah, sort of there. It was sort of their last lap. There was about 3 seconds difference. The Corvette was way quicker. So obviously that Corvette is very hooked up at the moment. The driver is obviously very relaxed in the car, and obviously setting some very good lap times at the moment. And the Aston Martin does need to up his speed as the Porsche passes the Ferrari.
And that is Cesar Cunil driving now that Porsche, the green and black and white car, the car number 20, the sister car of the one that went spinning a couple of minutes ago. And Diego Alessi and Giacomo Patribelli seem to be struggling a little bit now in that Ferrari.
Lap times as well.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
Very slow
Well
lap
off the
times.
pace.
Well off the pace. Almost about 9 seconds
Not good.
from the leader.
Battles all the way back down the order here. There is one of the Corvettes at the back. I think there are 2 Corvettes at the back. One of them is not in contention. The other one should be. It's Joachim Lambot, who took over from Mike Parisi. They were running in the top 5, but Lambot in car number 16 is brought back to 10th place. There he is on the inside, trying to make a move for. It's actually not for position because the other Corvette, I believe, is a lap down. So they must have had either a bad pit stop or a spin. They've fallen from 5th or 6th down to 10th place and involved here in a battle with several other cars, some of which are on the lead lap, some of which are not.
It's interesting to see how this Porsche sort of copes with the pressure that's coming up. Yeah, there seems to be. This is that Ferrari that we saw that seemed to be going quite well as he got into the lead, it seems. So I'm not quite sure what's happening now. There doesn't seem to be much going on. There's a mechanic, I think, in the passenger side, I think, having a look at the car.
Yeah, so the car ran well. They made up a lot of ground. The only Ferrari in the field are now out of the race. Let's look at the standings. Corvette out in front, the Aston Martin in 2nd place, the Ford GT in 3rd, then the Porsche, then the BMW Z4 now moving up into 5th position. So again, 5 different manufacturers among the top 5, and there's plenty of variety farther back as well. It's now Nicholas Meyer-Meinhof who's taken over that car number 9, that BMW Alpina B6. And holding off the Aston Martin. This is the battle we are looking at right now. Nicholas Meyer-Meinhof, the Austrian, taking over from Martin Matzke and that gorgeous BMW Alpina B6, holding off the second of the Hexis Racing Aston Martins, now with Luc Paillard at the wheel, another veteran of the former Palmer Audi Championship, funnily enough, who has taken over from Thomas Ackery, running in 7th place. Farther down there is a Porsche in 16th place, another Audi, Corvette, and farther on down the field. It's the battle then between the BMW and the Aston Martin. It is for 6th and 7th places, so good championship points here are up for grabs. The points will pay down to 10th place. At the moment, it is Joachim Lambot and Mike Parisi in the Corvette holding down 10th position, and that'll be very little consolation, having led the race yesterday into the closing stages and then having run out of fuel.
Yeah, that was very, very unfortunate for that to happen, but at the end of the day, that's something they need to sort out for the coming races.
It is. They run that same
running very wide.
Thomas Ackery running well off the road there, losing a lot of ground.
Yeah, sure. Also, it's going to call those tyres down as he goes through this sort of Beckett's section now, and I think he seems to have slowed up a little bit. I don't think he's got a problem. I think it's just where those tyres cool down so much, and then the car loses a lot of grip.
Yeah, another of the Porsches, that's Joe Osborne, who again ran extremely well yesterday with Gilles Vanelay, very experienced driver, Mulner Motorsport. They had a super run yesterday, finished in the 5th position,
Another one into the barrier. That's the BMW.
Ryan Meinhof off the road. That's a big spin.
Yeah, big spin. I don't know where that is. I think that might be Cup's corner again, I'm guessing.
Looks like he doesn't like that corner.
Yeah, and again, he was under pressure from the Aston Martin. There we go. No, it's a Stowe corner. So
that's the same guy that spun at Cops.
just go straight on there.
Wait a minute. Did he brake at all?
I think he must have braked a little bit. I think the impact would have been much higher otherwise. So
the gravel certainly slowed down the car somewhat, but there was no lock-up from the wheels. You thought the panic mode would have come in before he went off the edge of the racetrack. It's a very fast. That is the fastest part of the course here, going in excess of 165 miles an hour in these cars. And
that was the same place.
Straight on there is a very strange place to have an accident.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's the same
cars.
Place that Michael Schumacher had his
yeah.
accident back in '99.
Broke his leg. He did. He was out costing the chance of the championship that year. But the man right now is Daniel Karlowitz, leading comfortably at the front of the field in that Callaway Corvette in car number 101. He's got a 7.5 second lead over Manuel Rodriguez in the Aston Martin, and a similar gap back to third place, the Ford GT. As you can see there, that gap between first and second, 7.5 seconds. It's been constant, or it has been. Oh no, there's a spin for the 10th place car. That is Joachim Lambot, who has put that car again into the gravel trap. This is a disastrous weekend for Graf Racing. They have had two very fast cars. One of them didn't even start yesterday. The other one, this car, ran out of fuel on the final lap while in the lead. And now with a top 10 finish beckoning, Lambot puts the car into the gravel.
Yeah, that's it. That's Brooklyn corner again. We've had a few people spin off there. It's a very difficult corner to get correct, because it's quite a wide open entry, and then it goes into a very tight sort of second gear. Let me see that replay again.
Barely slowed down, didn't it, before it went into the gravel?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Really going fast. The gravel slowed it down a lot, and that was a heavy impact. I think he had a brake failure of some sort there. I mean, that car did not slow down like it should do. There was no locking up of the wheels.
No. I say he possibly had a bit of braking at the beginning, but then it does look as if there was none in the latter part of that.
I mean, that would be a scary impact. But there is the formerly 10th place Corvette stuck in the gravel, and the marshals are going to do what they can to get it out.
Yeah, the problem is with that, of course, you can see his wheels are spinning, and of course it means that it's stuck actually underneath, and it's quite a heavy thing to push with just those two mechanics, and you're trying to push it off a mound of gravel.
So there is the gap between first and second. You see the relative lap times over the last couple of laps, and Karlowitz pulling away by upward of 2 seconds a lap for the last two circuits around Silverstone, and now a comfortable gap over the Aston Martin. In third place, still the Ford GT. In fourth place now is Suzo Kunil in that Porsche, the car number 20 that won yesterday. And the victory today would move them comfortably, of course, maintain their championship, extend their championship lead, and that certainly is exactly what that track speed team needs. Let's look at the replay here. Coming down under braking, we saw the 10th place Corvette under pressure there from Philip Geipel, that is.
That's what it is. Yeah, that's what made him go off there. That's what made him spin. And actually, that Lamborghini is the fastest car on track at the moment.
Absolutely. It was the fastest car yesterday as well. That is the car. We showed it as a lap down in the early stages of this race with Ellen Law at the wheel. Philip Geipel has now taken over. He dominated the first half of the race yesterday until handing over to the less experienced in this car, Ellen Law. She had a spin but still finished third. But now, after running at the back of the pack, a good pit stop by that Argo Racing team, and Philip Geipel moving up into the top 6 now, or top 7 at least. He's now got a fair disadvantage, got that 7-second gap over the next car if he's going to move himself among the top 6.
Yeah, that Lamborghini's pace is pretty fast at the moment. It's 5 seconds quicker than the leader on the last lap.
206.1 for Philip Geipel in that Lamborghini, back in 7th place. So if he can maintain that pace, he might get himself into the top 5. We've certainly got, however, 5. Here is a look at the Lamborghini making a move down on the inside of the Porsche. Is that for position? I don't think it is, no. I think that was a lap car who was moving past, but the pace that Philip Geipel is showing is quite extraordinary.
It's quite extraordinary. Late, but
Yeah.
he's definitely showing that pace, and we've got just over 5 minutes to go, so he's still got a chance to move up the grid if he can and have a good finish.
23 years old is Philip Geipel from the Saxony region of Belgium, and again, he's another guy who has so much enthusiasm for this track at Silverstone, loves driving and loves driving this car as well. He says his fast-flowing style at Silverstone really suits his style of driving.
Yeah, I think it's something that the Lamborghini seems to be sort of fairly suited to here, because obviously the pace that he's doing at the moment is very, very fast, and I think they seem to be quite comfortable with the way he's handling, and now he's utilising that speed to move up.
Gorgeous looking car, isn't it? That Lamborghini Gallardo. It's Argo Racing that prepares. It's a 5-litre V10 engine in that car.
Sounds well,
yeah, exactly. It sounds glorious. A glimpse of it there, but just a whisper as it goes past. Here's a look at one of the Audis. That's one of the Team Rosberg Audis. This team, originally founded by former world champion Keke Rosberg, just clips that tyre barrier at the apex of Beckett's.
Yeah, that Lamborghini again doing another personal best, and that's is that 6
fastest
seconds?
lap of the
That's
race.
7 seconds quicker than the leaders. He's getting faster and faster and faster.
Fastest lap of the race then set by this man, Philip Geipel, in that number 25 Lamborghini Gallardo. 2 minutes 5.3. Look at the gap there on the last 3 laps between himself and Daniel Karlowitz, who is leading the race. These two ran first and second in the opening stages of yesterday's race, and as we said earlier on, each of these cars has 2 drivers per race. One of them starts on the first race of the weekend, the other one starts on the second race of the weekend. So that's why the drivers who started yesterday's race are now finishing off today's race. But with only 3 minutes and 22 seconds and ticking to go in this race, the time is running out for the Lamborghini. But look, he is closing very rapidly on that number 2 Aston Martin.
Oh, very much so, and I think that at the speed he's going, okay, he's only got it'll be 2 laps to get past the Aston Martin, but I think he's got a good chance to do that.
Getting down to the pit lane.
Hans Nick was involved in a crash there. Is he okay?
Nick is okay. Yeah, we lost our car. We don't know at the moment why. We have to wait a little bit when the car is back.
So you have no idea at all what were the problems with the car?
No, we have to take a look, and after that we know exactly what's happened.
Thank you.
You see the Lamborghini now he's pushing that and hustling that Aston Martin, which I don't think will be too long before he slips past, because his pace is just so good at the moment. As we see it coming out, this is the Woodcut corner. He's very close here, and he looks as if he's probably going to get past into Copse. I think he should take his time. Is he going to try? Yes, he is. Oh, he should have waited.
You're absolutely right, Johnny. Again, a little bit of impatience there. Only 23 years of age, not a huge amount of experience, certainly not at this level. And I think that's where patience would have paid off, perhaps.
Yeah, but I think again we've got 2 minutes left. 2 laps or so, maybe 2 laps, probably not, but maybe the last lap. I think the Aston Martin very sideways there, and the Lamborghini will definitely close it up down the hangar straight, and then he will have an opportunity for the half of the lap before we get round to the start finish. So we've got probably 2 laps left, I would say.
Yeah, so he's got a lap and a half at least. He's still got plenty of time, therefore, to get away, to wrest away that 6th position. But the next car in front of him, which is that Ford GT of Escalating, that's still a long way up the road, so there's no chance of catching that. But
there you go, the Aston Martin under pressure locks up, and he slips past quite easily.
Shoots a quick shout out here for the car number 77 that's moved up into 4th place. That is one of the Need for Speed by Schubert Motorsport BMW Z4 GT3s, and Csaba Walter from Hungary started off the car and handed over to Claudia Hürtgen, who is another very talented German female driver. She too has a lot of experience in real cars and in sports cars, and she is hustling that car and moved up into 4th place, and not far behind Cizo Kunil, our winner from yesterday. Here is in fact that battle. Here is Kunil coming down into Brooklands corner. You can see 37 seconds to go, 36, so there will be one more lap. And can Claudia Hürtgen in this Z4 BMW make up that ground and get away with a podium finish. She's certainly going to try.
Oh no, definitely so, and I think that the pace has been actually quite good for the last few laps, so I think there's a good opportunity for that.
Yeah, look at the standings there. There is Chubba Walter actually is shown at the wheel right now, so Claudia Hurgen having started the car apparently, but that was the battle there. Philip Geifel in 7th place, I think that's now become 6th since they crossed the line. Stefan Lemeray once again will be the best place of the Audis in 8th place, driving with Greg Franchi, 2 Belgian drivers there outside the top 12, an Audi, one of the Corvettes and another Audi. So there are battles all the way down the field, but not at the front it would appear. Daniel Karlwitz and Christian Owenadel have made this race their own. They were looking good yesterday until they had a problem with a water pipe fell off the engine. Just less than halfway through the race, they were out in front then. Now, with a new engine in that car, it seems to be running absolutely beautifully, and the drivers have, well, they did put a foot wrong, didn't they? Because they had to make that drive-through penalty, but they've come back from that and still hold a 10-second lead.
Yeah, and I think it's been a good weekend. Obviously, the disappointment of yesterday, but to end it on a high, I think it would be great for the whole team to take this win onto the next races coming up. So I think it's been a good weekend for them, and I think they've done a good job with a little error.
Eclipse the Callaway competition team on the pit wall, and it's Ver who runs that team, and it's now just less than half a lap to go for our race leader. Not even that, he's coming down the Wellington Straight for the final time. And this team, they made that precautionary engine change. It lost all its water yesterday, having run at the front of the pack. They decided not to take a risk. They wanted to make, just in case the engine had been damaged, they changed the engine overnight, put a fresh one in. And now it's Christian Owenadel who drove the first into the race, handed over to Daniel Karlwitz, and across the around the final corner, Woodcote corner, comes Daniel Karlwitz, and he will win for Corvette in the second race of this weekend's opening round of the GT3 European Championship. A perfect performance by Owenadel and Karlwitz and his Callaway competition team.
Absolutely, we see they're involved with the Aston Martin, a second place Aston Martin, and been a good weekend for these guys. I think the car's been very competitive all weekend. The Lamborghini there.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Lamborghini just snuck ahead of the BMW on the last. He made up 12 seconds on that final lap. That is absolutely incredible. Geifel comes across the line in 4th place. You can see the standings there at the end of the race. So it's Corvette, Aston Martin, Porsche, Lamborghini, BMW, Ford and Aston Martin. So 6 different manufacturers in the top 6, and another one, the Audi in 8th place. That is Stefan Lemeray and Greg Franchi. So an amazing performance by Philip Geifel in that Lamborghini in the closing stages, to come from absolutely nowhere, and despite that mistake at Copse Corner, comes away with a 4th place finish. Absolutely marvellous result, added of course to their 3rd place yesterday. The BMW Z4 comes across the line in 9th place, and the second of the Audis, one of the Black Falcon cars, comes home in 10th place. That will be Sean-Paul Breslin and Johannes Stuck.
Now that was amazing, that Lamborghini. Again, its pace, it was between sort of 6-7 seconds and 3. So to get that back, I think that was pretty amazing. I didn't expect it to get to that fall from that last lap, but well done to them.
Yeah, I'd counted them out. My apologies therefore to them, because Philip Geifel obviously knew differently, and that was a stunning final lap, and he's able to get away that position. There's David Ashburn again, the team owner then. His other car won yesterday and finished second today, but unfortunately Martin Raggett just started off at the front in this field, but handed over to David Ashburn. He had a couple of spins, but he'll be disappointed perhaps in his own efforts, but still delighted with that team, with that British-based team, to come away, the track sport team, to come away with 2 podium finishes in the opening round.
No, absolutely. I think it's a great start for them, and they can only take on that weekend of success to the next few races that are coming on.
So another exciting race in the GT3 European Championship comes to an end. It is the Corvette that will take the top position today. Porsche, it was on top yesterday. Corvette today, and in second place was the Aston Martin, followed by the Porsche, and then the Lamborghini, followed by BMW, and then the Ford GT. And again, that variety is just a hallmark of this championship, and these young drivers particularly someone like Daniel Karlowitz. He raced just in a Mini Cooper last year. It's quite a step to go from Mini Cooper to a Corvette Z06, and he has made that step seamlessly and drove a beautiful race both yesterday before he had that engine problem and today, taking over from Christian Owenadel. He had to serve that drive-through penalty because Owenadel, as we heard earlier from the pit lane, he admitted making a mistake coming into the pits. He transgressed, he went over that white line, the no-go zone, and had to serve that drive-through penalty. But he comes back from that to take the win, and that says a lot, I think, about the fact he's able to keep himself cool and turn those fast laps. It's easy to get flustered in that position.
Yeah, very easy, and I think it's maturity for someone to cope with that situation, but then actually to get themselves together to actually win the race. So he's done a very good job there.
So the Hexis Aston Martin will finish in second place. This guy started fourth on the second row of the grid, but come through to finish in the middle of the podium there with a second place result, and certainly a good result for them. They were disappointed yesterday with the way things went, but I think a lot of that disappointment will have gone away. There's Fred Makowiecki on the left of our picture, congratulating Manuel Rodriguez on a good run there to second place, and looks rightly delighted. Fred Makowiecki, he's a busy man today. He's going to hop out of this car and get ready to drive his GT1 Aston Martin a little later this afternoon.
Yeah, it's a nice warm-up for him, for sure.
Indeed. And any experience is good experience, isn't it, on this racetrack? Haley is down there in the pit lane. Daniel Karlowitz getting out of the car.
How was the track for you today?
Yes, at the end the track was very dry, and the race was perfect for when I can control the first position, so it was a really good race for us. Yes.
And Christian, you had the penalty, so you were a little bit worried about that, but it didn't seem to affect you too much.
Yes, we are very lucky because we have a good race, we have a good performance, and yeah, a big mistake for me, but I think my teammate Daniel did a very, very good job, so at least we are in the front. And we are very happy, and we say thank you for a very, very good car to the team.
Thank you.
Yeah, that Callaway competition team, and Christian Owenadel, by far the more experienced of those two drivers. He's 33 years old. He's driven in a lot of different championships over the last 10 or 15 years. But young Daniel Karlowitz, I think we're going to be hearing a lot more of that young man in the years to come, Johnny Herbert.
Yeah,
Wait a minute, let's go to the pit lane first of all.
Congratulations, Fred.
Yes, thank you. Congratulations, Nexus, because the car is fantastic during all the race. Thank you, Michelin, because we can push during all the race, and Manu do a really good job. The start is really difficult because big battle with the other guy, and after we can to be push and to give Manu at a good place, and he finished very good.
Thank you.
Yeah, overcome with emotion there, Manu Rodriguez, and well, that's nice to see. I mean, he's been around the sport a long, long time as Rodriguez, and he's had a fair amount of success as well. So to see that kind of emotion is great. Actually, I love it. He was a karting champion way back in the early days, and that Aston Martin certainly running beautifully this afternoon. But we're going to make a call out again for Karlowitz. We're going to be seeing a lot more of that young man, aren't we, Johnny?
No, I think we are, because he seems to be very, very mature. We can see there in the interview that he's very good in front of the camera, and it's something that I think as a package, that's something that people are always looking for. So yes, I think he'd be quite a little star in this type of racing.
Yeah, good little personality too. Perhaps didn't really come across there. He's only 20 years old, but he speaks pretty good English, but he does kind of get sort of camera shy, I think. I noticed when I was talking to him earlier on in the paddock that his English sort of dries up on occasion, but I tell you what, he can put his words together when he needs to when he's driving that racing car, and it was a beautiful job by him this afternoon. Let's have a look at the confirmation of the final results. The Corvette of the Callaway team in the first position today, a super result for them, coming back from that disappointment of yesterday. Second place in the Aston Martin of Rodriguez and Makowiecki. Third place for the Porsche, the Lamborghini in fourth, followed by the BMW and the Ford GT. Aston Martin seventh, Audi, BMW and Audi again round out the top 10. Let's have a look at some of the highlights from an exciting race that we've had here at Silverstone this afternoon. The second race of the weekend toward the FIA GT3 European Championship.